Hey internets, it's Jake from Mini Terrain Domain, and this is Dawnbringers, Ghosts of Saltmarsh, Season 3, Episode 22, A Sticky Situation. This Dawnbringers campaign is happening every Thursday night, right here on twitch.tv/Mini Terrain Domain at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, and I don't know about you, but for me, well, obviously for me, it's a destination to be. But this is definitely a high point of the week. I do want to apologize if I seem like I'm rubbing my eyes a lot. I'm having issues with my eye again, where it's going blurry. I don't know why. And it just started acting up again. So if I look like I'm squinting or rubbing my eyes a lot, that's what's going on with that. I got an eye exam soon, so hopefully we'll take care of that. It's from trying to read all these tiny fonts in the chat. They need to have, so I can just increase that font size. Anyway, so yeah, here we are, Thursday night, Dawnbringers. We left off with a doozy of a session last week with episode 21, What Dreams May Come. Again, for those of you relatively new, this will probably be the last time I introduce him as a new person, but we are very excited to have Dan join us as a regular. He's been playing Drown as a guest for a couple of sessions, and then recently joined as a permanent member of the Dawnbringers crew, and will be with us on Thursday nights. So Dan, we once again are very happy to have you join this band of misfits. I'm referring to both the characters and us, the players and DM. You know what you've gotten into. Couple of usual announcements. First and foremost, look up above my head. You will see that number +105, and then these three kind of glowing dice. Those are our domain dice. And this is actually the stream that originated domain dice. And it's also the stream that has the most domain dice. Jeremy, you got to type the whole word to get the chat command to come up. But the way domain dice work is you, the viewer, can have a little bit of an influence on how this game goes if you want, by simply doing just that, what Shadow of Dragons has just done, cheering 500 bits. That's worth a domain die. You can also subscribe. You can tip $5. You can subscribe if we get rated. All of those will contribute to the domain dice pool. And what that means is Shadow of Dragons, right here. There we go. There's your domain die. Putting you up to 109. And looks like Spike has just returned with a returning subscription. Again, this is my vision thing. The font on those are small enough I can't see how many months it's been, but nonetheless, there's another domain die. As you can see, 6. Thank you. Concurrently on a 6-month streak. Glad to have you continue subscribing. And if you don't want to subscribe, that's cool. But you can always hit that follow button, join our rather large group of followers, hit the notification thing to be notified whenever we go live. We run lots of D&D here on Mini Terrain Domain, along with other games by other people. So lots of great stuff going on here. Looks like Jeremy could only do one word at a time, so I'll type the whole thing in for you. It's also going through the that'll cost you a domain die, Jeremy. It costs 1 domain die to flip off the DM. But also all of the information about domain dice is down at the bottom, and how those can be used by the players. Next up, we have our partner, Jasper's Game Day. Jasper is an organization founded by Fenway the Teen DM right here in my home state of Michigan that is dedicated to raising awareness of suicide through tabletop gaming. So we are a proud partner with them. you can click the link there to donate directly to them and help fund suicide crisis centers around the country. Another way that you can show your support for that and get a little something for yourself is by clicking that new link that just showed up for Initiative Coffee Company, where you can get your very own Metade roast coffee, which is a wonderful blend of coffee that we hand selected, and for every 12-ounce bag of that coffee that you purchase, $3 will go to benefit Jasper's Game Day and fund those crisis centers. D&D Beyond. I want to draw attention to D&D Beyond, who has granted us insider access, and that is why you can mouse over the stream at any time, and you will be able to see their character sheets pop up for all the players. Little icon showing where their hit points are at. You might notice that our beloved Thorgarn is showing that he is in death saving throws. We call that being in the throes of death. There it is. It wasn't showing in mine for some reason. But I use D&D Beyond maps and the compendium and all kinds of stuff to track the campaign. So thank you to D&D Beyond for that. Last but certainly not least, I would like to make sure that you, the viewer, that everybody, this goes for players, of course, as well, the viewers, everybody who's hearing this, it is very important for you to know that you matter, you are important, and no matter where you are, and whether you know it or not, your presence on Earth makes a difference. But it can be a struggle sometimes, and it can be difficult to deal with that, deal with those kind of feelings and thoughts, but there is resources that are available to you, and we want to do our part to help you. So at any time during a mini terrain domain stream, on any of our streams, you can type the word !help, and the information that just popped up is also going by on the scroll down below. Will show, and you have those resources available to you. You can call in the United States the National Suicide Lifeline at 1-800-273-TALK. That's 1-800-273-8255. Or you can text 741-741. If you do call that number and you are a veteran, you can press the number 1 after dialing that, and you'll be connected with a veteran specialist counselor. For our friends in Canada, you can reach the crisis text line by texting the word connect for English or parler for French to 686-868, or you can call the Canada Suicide Prevention Services in French or English, toll free at 1-833-456-4566. Finally, if you happen to be one of our many friends from around the world in countries other than the United States and Canada, you can go to opencounseling.com/suicide-hotlines, and the numbers and text numbers for every country in the world that has those resources available shows on that website. And we urge you, if you are even questioning anything, to reach out to any of those resources. There's no shame in seeking out help. All right. With that, we are going to do a quick recap, and we are going to play some Dungeons and Dragons. All right. So, very recently, the Dawnbringers have managed to deal with a very large ironclad warship full of constructs led by Fig's long lost, we'll say brother, though they're more of the constructed variety and less traditional siblings. This warship was attached by chains to the back of a large dragon turtle that assaulted the harbor of Saltmarsh. The Dawnbringers rushed into the rescue, very quickly dispatching the dragon turtle. Fig, in an amazing show of wisdom and bravery, faced off against Archimedes and outwitted them, and ultimately literally absorbed Archimedes' brain into his own I was gonna say carapace. That's not really the word I want. But basically Fig now has Archimedes' consciousness within his own head, knocking around in there. Then that will totally not have any negative side effects whatsoever. In the process of that, though it was close, the Dawnbringers also managed to rescue the 40 slaves that the constructs were using on their slaves on their ship. They're now refugees in the care of the Dawnbringers. With the help of Captain Dervish and the Evangeline, they headed up the coast, moving to the house where they had stopped the slave trade operation and the smuggler operation, and 12 other refugees that they had previously saved were waiting. Their efforts of saving the town of Saltmarsh were appreciated, but also they were asked to please leave while they talk, because they are of the mind that if the Dawnbringers hadn't been there in the first place, many people would not have died, and much of the town would not have been destroyed. This really got under Thorgarn's skin. And as they had a few conversations en route back to the house, ultimately, everybody convened back at the house. They brought in all the refugees. They did begin to notice that some of the previous refugees were acting weird, listless, often staring off into the distance. They were trying to figure out what was going on. They ultimately worked together and set up a impromptu feast with all of the refugees and the Dawnbringers, save for Thorgarn, who was stewing in his own juices out back. When his constant spiritual companion, Father Griveth, seemed to take on a slightly more corporeal form and began to absorb some of his memories and physically attack him. Thorgarn tried to fight against it, but was ultimately dropped unconscious, alone out in the field. Meanwhile, inside of the dinner, all seemed happiness and smiles, until simultaneously several of the refugees from the original group began talking to the individual Dawnbringers, asking them questions, particularly landing on some variation of the word memory, in which their voices got all deep and echoey and scary. Everybody except for Talmud escaped whatever mental trickery was afoot, and Fig remained completely unaffected. Cantriel in particular noticed something was up as she heard footsteps coming in through the front door, walking into this part of the house, and saw Thorgarn enter, carrying Thorgarn's unconscious body in Thorgarn's arms. She also noticed that each of the refugees and this Thorgarn figure had these slimy tendrils that were connected somewhere along their backside of them, reaching down into the floorboards, into the walls. And as we pick up Talmud, as everybody is, as there's this sort of sound as Cantriel pushes her chair back, stands up and notices this, and Fig is sort of trying to figure out why this gnome keeps repeating the word memory at him. Talmud, your consciousness is assaulted. What memory is it that surfaces under this assault?
So I think that this happened a long time ago, and Talmud is much, much younger. He's back in the halls of the Gedaun Hall clan, the clan hall, and has been training to learn how to fight for most of the day. He's very, very exhausted at this point. And I think somebody has bumped into him, kind of, the shoulder checking, kind of going in the hallway. And he's rounded on them and remembers the taste of the blood in his mouth as he has bit down on his own lip. And then he doesn't remember what happened next. And when he comes to, that dwarf is laying on the floor and they're not breathing, and their face is almost unrecognizable.
And it's that dwarf's beaten face, perhaps a couple of teeth missing, one eye starting to swell shut, that strangely is momentarily standing in front of you, back in this house on the hill in Saltmarsh. And what I need from everybody is for all of you to roll initiative. Because who doesn't love a session that starts with initiative rolls? And Ted, you'll be making the remainder of your death saves in the initiative order. I don't know if that means you're going first or last, Dan. I don't know which one you're happy about. Go ahead and call them out, because I'm having trouble focusing on the chat.
Right, then Drown has a 22. Rolled a
23.
Just because I rolled a 20 doesn't mean I'm going first.
Griveth. Griveth, what you got?
11.
Fig.
6.
Thorgarn.
16.
16.
Yes, sir.
Talmud.
I also got a 6.
What's your dex?
2.
Fig, what's your dex?
1.
Okay, so Talmud will go just before Fig. Fig also has at his disposal, Hermes is sort of standing silently nearby. I forgot to mention that the Dawnbringers, Fig in particular, turned over the Dreadnought, the ironclad warship, to their new patron, the Lady Vantage, but kept one of the constructs for himself, a sort of spindly construct by the name of Hermes that is often seen plodding rapidly back and forth. And then I need to also roll for initiative.
I mean, you can go last if you want to. It's cool.
Oh no.
Well, why not?
I've been using this lovely Dice Tower core that I made on the new MTD live stream, crafting live stream on YouTube on Friday nights. I'm using that now as my Dice Tower.
It works.
As I roll the... Alright, so... That's going to be... Okay, here is your initiative order. It is Cantriel, followed by Drown, followed by the Memory Thief. Hold on, I wrote... There we go. Followed by Thorgarn and Griveth, Talmud, and Fig and Hermes. Cantriel, you've just stood up and you see this figure holding on to Thorgarn, and it's just standing there while the other Thorgarn lies limp in its arms. And because in the last session you rolled a 29 perception and noticed those tendrils, you would also notice that the Thorgarn being that is unconscious does not appear to have any tendrils. It's such a high perception, you're able to discern at the moment between the two Thorgarns. How would you like to proceed? One last reminder. Sorry. The other 40 refugees, as of this moment, have not noticed that anything is amiss.
Well.
So all around you is happy, mirthful conversation, people passing food, eating, and you are in a room with technically at least 40 innocent people, possibly more.
Right. Then I'm going to use my hunter sense from my ranger side of things. And that's using my action. Choose one creature. I am choosing the one that's holding Thorgarn. Learn whether the creature has any damage, immunities, resistances, or vulnerabilities, what they are, and if the creature is not hidden from divination magic, I can figure out what it is.
Oh, okay. So that's there we go. Immediately learn. So you learn all of its, or just that it has immunities? All of its immunities. If the or vulnerabilities. Okay, so you learn a whole lot of stuff.
Yes, I do.
Okay. Excellent. So as you reach out with this hunter sense and quickly size up the situation, you know that this creature does not have any vulnerabilities. Now, the immunities, does that extend to condition immunities? It's just damage immunities, correct? While it has no vulnerabilities, you also know that it does not have any immunities to any types of damage.
Okay.
No resistances either?
Nope, no resistances either.
And is it hidden by divination magic?
That, I need a moment to check on some... I've got a lot of things that play with this encounter.
The suspense is killing me!
No. It is not hidden by divination magic.
So,
or music. Magic or music.
Would the Thorgarn that's carrying Thorgarn show the injuries that it had sustained?
The vast majority of the injuries you sustained were psychological.
No. The one that's carrying Thorgarn. The one that I hit.
Oh, no.
Okay.
Nope, there's no sign of injuries.
All right.
All right, so that was your action. Anything else? Bonus actions, movement?
Don't I get to find out what it is, too?
Do you?
They are if the creature is not hidden.
Oh, okay. Sorry, this is the first time I've ever encountered somebody.
I believe that's saying you learn what
if the
vulnerabilities and resistances are if it's not hidden.
Oh, okay. See, I was thinking general day is
so thing. Like if it had non-detection or something on it, it reads as nothing.
Okay, but we can fight it.
Right.
Yes.
That's good. Then I will then use a bonus action and shout over to Drowns in the room, correct?
Everybody is now in the room.
Everybody's in the room. But he wasn't whammied, correct? Or was he?
He received an attempted whammy and managed to shrug it off and is about to have words with this old lady in front of him.
The only one that's shown any sign of not being themselves is Talmud, who seems to suddenly be listless, staring blankly, had a bit of drool.
Oh God, that's right.
Everybody else maintained their composure.
Mm-hmm. Then I'll shout over to Drown. Something is more afoot than usual, but we can fight it. And Bardic Inspiration, which is a 1d8, and it's College of Valor.
All right. And then it is Drown's turn next.
All right, so we're at dinner with a whole bunch of presumably innocent people and just a couple of weirdos growling memory at us. I assume that between any two of these weirdos, there are presumably innocent people, yeah?
Yeah, they're pretty widely spread out because there's 40 that you know or presumed to be innocent. It's so far you've only noticed oddness amongst the original 12.
Okay. Like, all the original 12. Are the original 12 the ones that are getting all freaky with us, saying memory over and over again?
They are indeed.
Yeah, okay. It's just going to be a bad day for them, I think. All right. So given that there are just a ton of people around who I have no particular desire to kill, we won't go scorched earth just yet. So Drown will snatch up his staff, push to his feet, knocking his chair over backwards, and bellow to everyone in the room, "There's danger here! Get out!" And then start wailing on this woman in front of him.
All right.
So yeah, I'm gonna make an attack with the Staff of the Seas, and we'll start off nice with a nat 1. So I'll be thrown off balance. Attempt to come at her with the I'm being prompted to burn domain dice. Well, we've got hundreds of them, so yeah, we'll try that again. That's better. We'll call that a 22.
All right, a 22 will hit.
Okay, so where'd my staff go? So that's going to be 12 points of magical bludgeoning damage, and a second strike with my Thirsting Blade invocation. That'll hit as well for another 13.
So 25 total.
Right, and then as a bonus action, he'll growl something in giant, and one of those shimmering green watery tentacles will rise up out of the ground and lash at her. That one will only hit a 17. Not bad.
That is going to be a hit.
All right, so that'll be 2 points of, let's go with cold damage.
So Drown suddenly yells out, "There's danger here," and immediately proceeds to beat an old woman, one of the original refugees, with a staff. Several people are pushing away from you, Drown. They have no real idea what's happening. So there's instantly confusion everywhere. Any movement, or are you staying engaged?
I'm going to stay engaged. No, you know what? I'm going to back away, and if it would like to attack me, that's fine. I'm going to try and draw it away from the crowd of people.
All right, so you take a step back, and as you do so, where you've hit this old woman with this staff, quick and rapid succession, with the both ends of the staff, and you notice where you hit seem to sort of almost cave in, and as this old woman turns to face you, the face seems to sort of and reform, and one of its arms, as you step back, lashes out in a looking like the tentacle that you called forth, and is going to make an attack at you for, that is a 16 to hit.
That'll hit.
As this tentacle lashes out at you. Oh my. That is going to be,
I may have done effed up.
11, 12, 13, 14, 17 points of bludgeoning damage.
Wow, that hits hard.
And 5 points of psychic damage.
Psychic damage. So you said 17 and 5?
17 and 5, so 22 total
Owie.
points as this thing lashes out at you when you step back.
All right. So when this tentacle crashes into him and snaps his head to the side, he growls, turns his head back over with blood trickling out of his mouth and a little bit out of his nose and ears, and just bellows rage and defiance, and is going to blast her with a hellish rebuke.
Okay.
So she needs to make a dexterity saving throw, please. DC of 17.
That is going to be an 18 on the die, so that'll be a 21.
So she'll take half.
All right.
Oh, these are the wrong dice. It's not D6s, it's D10s. 10, 17, 20, 30, damn. 38, 43, so 21 after her save. Fire damage.
So your hellish rebuke is a true hellish rebuke in fire.
Yep. I have unfortunately have no means to change the damage type, so it's like cold teal flames burn in his eyes, and then the body just combusts.
So I imagine that your fire magic, while maintaining the properties of fire, has this sort of almost look like it's underwater, tinted as if it were under the sea with a little bit of shimmeriness. But all of you notice as this hellish rebuke strikes this old woman, the individuals that were talking to you, they all momentarily, they sort of cringe away, and they seem to sort of stutter in place, like, and their countenance shifts from the form that they're holding as they look to you to rapid flashes of face, blank face, face, blank face, face, blank face, and then snap back in to position. So hitting it with fire, while it was not vulnerable to it, did seem to have some sort of adverse effect on it.
Interesting.
And it is now this thing's turn.
Yeah.
And it is going to look around. You see all of them in the room suddenly look at Drown. And the old woman takes a step forward, and she does this sort of stuttery movement where she sort of jitters in place and then is suddenly in front of you. And then she sort of jitters and she's away from you, jitters and is in front of you. And with each jitter, she's making 2 lashing attacks with this tentacle thing. The first one is going to be a natural 4. So that's only going to be 11 as it sort of right in front of your face. The second one is going to be a total of 14. So they sort of make this whip cracking sound on either side of you next to your ears, but it was a distraction as you see the mouth forming the word memories again, and I need you to make a wisdom saving throw.
Oh, I'm using a domain die. Oh, and that's the second nat 20. So that'll be a 23.
Okay. So you feel that whatever this is, you feel those words trying to wend their way into your consciousness. And through sheer force of will, you push it back. It's not able to gain a foothold. And it is then going to be Thorgarn. I need you to make a death saving throw. This is number 2.
I'm going to re-roll that, please.
So that is going to, was that just a regular failure?
This is a regular failure.
So let's see, you're at 108, so that's going to take you down to 104.
Do it again.
That'll take
That's
you down
better.
to 100.
So that is a 14.
Okay. So let me get this right. Whoops. I'll turn that off. And there we go. Because that costs 4 domain dice for each death save correction. So, okay.
Thank you.
Domain dice well spent.
Thank you to all of those who have contributed to me not being dead.
So Thorgarn is on his second successful death saving throw. And Griveth, it is now your turn. As there was an old man that was talking to you.
Yeah. And what did he say?
Specifically what he had said to you was he had questioned whether what he had said was, I see that you bear the waterfall of Eldath upon your shield. Remind me, is that a clerical domain, or do you serve as a sort of paladin? I can't quite remember. And that's sort of echoing in your mind. You just wanted me to do my old man voice again.
I did. All righty. So I see this whole thing with Drown going on. Thorgarn carrying in Thorgarn. Cantriel casting something at it, or looking at it and yelling something about it. So Griveth just has this confused look on his face. He's like, what is going on? So he yells over to Cantriel. It's like, what should I do?
Fight it.
Which one?
She'll like waggle her arms. The tentacle-y things, the things sticking out of them.
All right. So Griveth leaps up and he runs over to where the Thorgarn ×2 is. And I'm going to grapple the Thorgarn carrying the Thorgarn.
Okay.
Okay.
Just as a reminder, though, you were standing directly in front of one of these things.
Okay.
And you're leaving it space, so it will get an opportunity attack against you.
Bring it.
That
I
is
laugh at opportunity attacks.
that's going to be a 16 to hit.
Okay, that's not a hit.
I didn't think it was. So you suddenly hear this sort of snapping sound as it manifests one of these tentacles that like Drown has manifested, tries to grab you around the throat, but you get away from it as you go to tackle. So go ahead and make me a strength athletics check.
Okay. Let's see here. Okay, 21.
All right, let's see. Strength athletics looks like a +2, and I rolled a 12.
Okay, and I am a grapple master something.
The Knight of Smite is what you are.
So, yeah. So I'm pulling this thing off of Thorgarn. I assume he just drops Thorgarn to the floor.
So I imagine using a bit of sort of a wrestling maneuver.
Mm-hmm.
I picture
that I learned on the beach in my youth. Yeah,
that you come running in towards this thing, and at the last second you sort of sidestep, put your arm up, hitting it so that its throat is caught in the crook of your arm, and you drop your weight to the ground and thrust it down to the ground, which causes Thorgarn to sort of land on it, cushioning his blow, and he sort of rolls off to the side, and you've sort of got this thing in this weird sort of half Nelson on the ground. All right, you've got it grappled.
Hey, Cantriel, if we take this thing out, do you think it'll stop all these things?
Theoretically.
All right.
Talmud, You are sort of hearing this kind of like that as if waking from a dream, this sort of everything has a and then you hear Griveth's voice, you hear Drown yelling, and the sounds of fighting going on around you, and you see the chaos that's just beginning to erupt in this room. What do you do?
He takes a second, kind of looks at this person that was just speaking to him, and seeing the face of the dwarf from so long ago, he kind of takes a step back. What did you say to me?
The image you see in front of you is now just that of a human. And it just cocks your head. Or cocks its head, not your head.
Not yet. So he's going to be very confused, I think. And he's going to kind of look around from side to side to try to piece together what's transpired in that snap of time that he's missing, which is not unusual, unfortunately, for Talmud. So I think I'm going to pass my turn this round.
Do you want to take any sort of held action dodge, or are you just going to use your turn to stand there confused? Which is fine.
I think I will take the dodge action, just because seeing this visage is probably off-putting, and is going to make Talmud kind of instinctively defensive.
Okay. Fig, you've seen this chaos erupting around you. You are witnessing the physical attacks that are taking place. And this bizarre looking, well, not bizarre looking, just this gnome that was talking to you. She did look bizarre, though, when she shifted momentarily, stuttering. But now looks like a gnome in front of you. What would you do, Fig?
So you said that we had noticed that attached to these people is kind of like this umbilical cord type thing?
No. Cantriel noticed that.
Oh.
Because as I recall, Cantriel rolled a 29, and you said, I also rolled a 29 minus 20.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Fig only had a 9 perception, so Fig has not yet noticed.
So, okay. So I think Fig would just be very confused of what's happening, since he has not felt the effects of what is happening. But then seeing the fact that this woman is acting very strange, he is going to try and...
You have seen the two other individuals that tried to attack Drown and Griveth turn their arms into tentacles to attack them. So there is a little bit of a visual cue that something's amiss.
Yeah, definitely. I think... I don't know if this will work because I don't know what this creature is, but I think Fig would cast Sleep.
At what level?
At level 4.
Okay. Go ahead and roll the corresponding dice, which is that 6d8 or 7d8? Wait, 8d8. Sleep's level 1, isn't it? I was thinking it was level 2.
Yeah, level 1. Okay, 8d8.
No, sorry. It's going to be more. It boosts by 2d8 every level.
Oh, you are right.
So that's going to be 11d8.
Which sounds like a made-up number.
It does.
11d8.
It sounds like I'm talking to my kids.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
See, I got Dan playing in the game. I forget I have a D&D Beyond compendium.
So 11d8 is going to be 62 points.
Okay, give me 1 second. So,
Nice
you said
roll.
68? Is that what you said?
62.
Oh, 62. So that would be 8. All around the table, 7 of the refugees fall unconscious. As you have put 7 of the lowest hit point creatures to sleep. The refugees, you see 7 of them around you just sort of looking confused. What's happening here? I don't understand. A couple of them slump down onto the floor. A couple collapse onto the table. There's a clattering of dishes. A chair that topples backwards. Anything else, Fig? Movement or bonus actions or anything?
Yes. Fig is going to use his bonus action to command Hermes to attack one of the closest tentacle armed one.
Give me a persuasion check
Perfect.
to see if Hermes will obey your command.
Yep, I love it. Yep. That's a 12.
Hermes stands up. Fully. Nope, I'm not going to say that word. At full attention. And you hear a shing as his hand suddenly sort of splits and a blade comes out of the end of his wrist. And which one were you commanding him to attack?
Just the one closest.
So Hermes is going to launch forward and remind me, does he get the 1 attack or the 2?
Well, here it says he gets 2 arm blade attacks. He makes 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wrote it up and then I couldn't remember what I wrote.
So, I rolled a 2, so that's definitely not going to hit. But then I got a dirty 20. So I imagine that Hermes is going, but then gets distracted by something. Just kind of like turns his head over and does like this half-assed like swing of his blade, and then you hear Fig in the background just, Hermes, pay attention, and you see he makes a second, which is a dirty 20 to hit, which is going to be 5 points of slashing damage.
Yeah, as Hermes steps forward, that first step that he takes, there's a crunch, and his distraction is looking down, and he stepped on one of the metal bowls that had been knocked off the table, or a goblet, we'll say, and was momentarily distracted by that as the arm blade goes ka-thunk into the table, and then he pulls it free and makes connection with that thing. After he does so, his head just sort of turns towards you as if to ask approval, or looking for I can't think of the word I'm looking for. Attaboy is the only thing that comes to mind. Confirmation that he did a good thing. That's going to bring us back to the top of the order with Cantriel.
We're still on the same day we killed the dragon turtle, right?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I was.
We've been on this day for like 4 sessions, I think.
This is the day that never ends.
No, we took a long rest because remember the dragon removed the carcass in the night.
Oh, okay. That's important to have that knowledge, because I'm now switching my sworn enemy to Mr. Tendrils, or Ms. Tendrils, or Tendril, I don't know. So I'm going to start shooting the one that's holding our Thorgarn.
Actually, correction. The dragon was going to remove
well
in the night.
Is it dawn?
It has not yet been dawn. It is because you in the last session. The question came up: were you still under the benefits of the Heroes Feast?
Heroes Feast.
Help Thorgarn! I'll hold this thing.
Okay, so then I can't do that. So then instead, I'm going to I'll do Hunter's Mark.
Okay.
First level Hunter's Mark towards the one that's holding our Thorgarn, and I shall shoot at it with an arrow, and I can do that twice at least.
It will be at disadvantage because Griveth has it pinned on the floor.
Yeah, I'm.
Oh, that's right. He's grappled.
Help Thorgarn! Help Thorgarn!
Oh, that's right. We have that going on too. So then, let me do. Do I have it? I thought I had something else. Then I'll run over to Thorgarn and I will do Cure Wounds. Let's do that.
Does a 19 hit you?
Mm-hmm.
You hear a as you move away from the thing that was confronting you, rushing to hit Thorgarn. It nails you in the back, in the small of the back, as you take off, and you feel it break skin for 18 points of bludgeoning damage, and 11 points of psychic damage. As it sends a shockwave through your spine and through your nerves up into your brain, where for a moment in your mind there's just this fogginess that just clears instantly. It's almost like I know not everybody can relate to this, but sometimes when you're drifting off to sleep, if you get this, the thing that goes, not the fall, but the thing that goes, zzz, it sounds like an electrical surge or something.
I have not experienced
I'll
that,
explain more about that later, but let's go with the fall then, since you can relate to that.
The jolt. Yes. Okay, so then do I need to do any type of saving throw?
Nope.
Cool. All right.
No, this was just a straight up physical attack.
Okay, then Thorgarn is going to get 10 points HP.
So Cantriel comes almost falling to the floor as she gets struck from behind by this creature and sort of lands next to where Griveth has the one version of Thorgarn pinned to the floor. And Cantriel, you kind of just reflexively glance at it and you can see these tendrils that are literally coming up from the cracks in the floorboard and are attached to the one that Griveth is currently grappling. You reach over, touch Thorgarn, and Thorgarn, you just suddenly, your eyes pop open. But we'll get to your reaction when it's your turn.
Okay.
So that was your action, Cantriel. Anything else? Or no, did you change, because you had shifted your Hunter's Mark? Did you still stick with that?
No, because Hunter's Mark was separate. I was going to use the bow because the bow has the option to switch to Sworn Enemy.
Right.
But it has to be the next dawn before I can do it.
Okay.
So, his mother's still floating around. Because I didn't tell her to go away.
No, she stays until you tell her to go away, and you had summoned her in the morning.
Okay, so mother's still awake. Which means I need to...
Yep. Melody.
I forgot about that.
Shadow Melody can also make an attack.
She's going to can she grab one of the tendrils?
She can certainly try.
All right, she's going to go for one of the tendrils then and try her strength drain because that's all she's got.
Oh.
And that's going to be a 14. Does that hit?
As she's reaching for the tendril, which one is she reaching for? The one that's the Thorgarn mimic?
Sure, that works because if she saw me heading that way, she'd probably do it.
Nice. Sorry, I just saw the side chat. Melody reaches for this tendril, and it seems to move of its own accord, avoiding her grasp.
Okay.
And when it looks like she gets a hold of it, it just slips through her shadow form, and she can't seem to get a grip on this thing.
Oof.
That is going to take us to Drown. You've taken a step back. She, mechanically, the one that took an opportunity attack against you, has had on its turn had moved in to engage you again, so is currently engaged within 5 feet of you.
Have any of the refugees fled, cleared out, any of that business?
7 of them are unconscious. The rest of them are sort of they're in the process of reacting, so they are still in the room.
Okay. Then I will... It seemed like it very much did not care for being burned. So I'm going to hold off on burning my last spell slot at the moment, just in case it whacks me again. And I will lay into it with the Staff of the Seas and my little lashy tentacle. All right. So I'm going to burn a domain die because I'm tired of rolling nat ones, but there's balance in the world. So I have a 17 and a 26 to hit with my 2 attacks.
Sorry, go ahead.
Both of those will hit.
All right.
What were you saying, V?
I was going to tease him. This is payback for Tuesday night.
Yeah, fair enough. So that'll be 20 points of bludgeoning damage across those 2 hits, and then I will strike it with my Lurker's Tentacle. That will also hit. D8 again. 2 points of cold damage.
All right.
And this time I'm not going to back away from it again because it doesn't need to hit me any more than it already does.
All right.
And Drown will yell, "Burn it!"
So it is now its turn. And Griveth is grappling the Thorgarn one. Cantriel is on the ground right next to the Thorgarn one. Drown, Fig, and Talmud are near other ones. So let's see, we've got... I guess it's all of you, so I'm just going to roll a d6. 1, 2, 3, 4. Sorry, Thorgarn. As you start to come to consciousness, the one that you're grappling, Griveth, while you're holding it, you feel it move underneath you. And you no longer have it grappled around the neck. You are grappling its ankles, as it has sort of and completely shifted itself in the 180-degree orientation. And Thorgarn, as your eyes open and you turn, your sort of head is laying to the side, you're looking into your own face.
Is it still technically grappled?
Yes.
So it would still have disadvantage to attack, right?
It absolutely does.
All right. That's
well, not to mention the fact that both you and it are prone. But regardless, there is a reason it is at disadvantage, regardless of grappling or anything else. So it is going to make its first attack at you at disadvantage, which will be a 19 to hit.
Yeah.
As
reroll.
How far away is he from my rough position?
I'm gonna say that he is probably about. Let me check the map real quick.
Okay.
See what kind of distances we're dealing with. This room's only 20 feet wide by 5, 10, 15. Wait, that's the wrong room. 5, 10, 15, 20. What? How in the heck did you get 60 people in here? It's bigger on the inside. It's like Thanksgiving dinner when everybody's crammed and crowded in, sitting on both sides of the table. I'm going to say that it's hard pressed for you to be more than 30 feet away from any given person. However, Griveth wants me to re-roll that attack, spending 2 domain dice. So I'm going to re-roll that attack.
Basically, I just need to know if Thorgarn is within 10 feet. So if he's outside of that, I got nothing for him.
Let's
I would
see.
down that close.
No.
We backed away, and I would imagine.
Yeah. Well,
just inside the doorway.
This new roll is now an 11.
11 misses
for the first attack. So there's this. You watch as this sort of pseudopod seems to emerge from its shoulder and attempt to hit you, Thorgarn, and miss. It's going to attempt a second time. That's an 18 and a 19, so that's going to be a 25 to hit with the second one.
How about we re-roll that one too?
Sure. The new roll is going to be a 17 to hit.
Just barely.
So when this one hits you, you are going to take 6, 11, 12, 15 points of bludgeoning damage.
Back on the ground.
And 5 points of psychic damage.
Doesn't matter.
So
I'm on the ground.
You only had like 6 hit points anyway, 10 hit points. Something
right.
Like 10, yeah.
I just got to see something. It doesn't specify, but I'm going to say... Okay, so because it was attacking you, Thorgarn, when you are unconscious, is it all saving throws that you fail automatically? Or just dexterity and strength? Or was it some... Oh, okay, I'm going to...
Yeah, just
bring up the...
Check the condition.
I think if you take any damage, you automatically fail.
Well, I don't want the Rick and Morty rules. I'm sure they're the same, but... let's just see. Unconscious. Incapacitated, can't move, speak, drops whatever it's holding. Creature automatically fails strength and dexterity saving throws. So, though you are unconscious, Thorgarn, I need a wisdom saving throw from you.
Check.
Add +3.
+3.
That's right. You benefit from Eldath.
So 14, 15, 18.
As you slip into unconsciousness, it is unassaulted by memories resurfacing. And also, you do not receive that massive psychic damage. And that is going to end the Memory Eater's turn. And that is going to bring us to...
I get to make another death save!
Ted making death saves. That's what this session is. We're going to call this session Ted Saves.
That is a 13.
All right. Another success, or your first success in this round.
Back to having one success. This is exactly where I started.
And Griveth, this thing that has shifted its position, you technically still have it grappled, and it has just attacked Thorgarn. What would you like to do?
I did it. I forgot to turn my mark on. I realize this is kind of a fool's errand, as this thing is very elastic and slimy and moving. So it was like, damn it, I was going to ask Thorgarn what the hell this thing is. So I'm pissed off that it took Thorgarn down again. So I I let go of it and kind of wheel around, kneeling next to Thorgarn, but keeping my guard up against this thing. And I'm going to reach down and let the power of Eldath flow through me into Thorgarn. So he gains 25 hit points.
Is it 25?
Yep.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
So you ungrappled it, essentially, but maintaining your sort of awareness near it. Okay.
Right.
Excellent. I'm assuming that was a lay on hands.
Yes.
Talmud, you're watching the chaos continue to unfold, and you're seeing your friends are fighting with these, what appear to be, on the surface anyway, the original refugees, though you've seen some pretty bizarre manifestations by them.
So Talmud kind of slowly piecing together what is going on in this room. He looks and sees Thorgarn laid out on the ground, or at least one of Thorgarn. And he looks over and sees Griveth wrestling with another Thorgarn. That doesn't help his confusion at all, but he's just going to turn towards the thing that is closest to him, that had taken on the visage of this broken dwarven face, and he's going to pick up the chair that is next to him and slam it into this creature. But before he does that, his tattoos begin to glow, and another dwarven visage appears out of him. Let's see who this is going to be. Oh, okay. That makes good sense. It is once more Cousin Tildane, as she comes out and says, "These people were innocent. You should have left them alone, dearie." And is going to pick up this chair and smash it across this person's face.
All right.
Improvised weapons, is that a disadvantage situation?
No proficiency bonus.
Okay, cool.
Yep, just straight with your strength bonus.
Well, it's pretty good, Jake, I have to tell you. It is a 21 to hit.
Yeah, that's gonna hit.
I hope so. Otherwise, these refugees are nasty. Okay, so what kind of damage you want?
You picked up a chair.
Aye.
We're gonna call that a 1d4.
Works for me. Right. That is going to be is +4, so 7 points of damage.
You added your
oh no.
additional rage damage.
It is 9 points of damage from a chair, yo.
Yeah. All right.
So imagine he smashes it across this person, and it like splinters in his hands, and he kind of pulls back, and now he's got these two like chair legs like in his hands, one in each hand, with like these broken jagged pieces of wood sticking off the end.
Absolutely.
And then is going to attack it a second time with one of those.
Ric Flair would be proud.
Woo! All right.
I understood that reference.
I'm going to spin a domain die to reroll that second one. That's better. Okay, that's a 19.
That's a hit.
Sweet. You still good with a D6 or D4 rather?
Yeah, this time it would be piercing though because of the jagged edges.
Perfect. Okay, +6. That's 9 more.
All right. Okay.
Leave them alone.
All right, Fig. What are you going to
do? So seeing this escalate, but I think there's still this conundrum within Fig of not wanting to hurt the refugees, still kind of thinking or wondering if they are, but he needs to help get them restrained. So I imagine that there's this little, he outstretches his arm, and if you'll allow this bit of flavoring, he a little hole kind of opens up in his arm, and instead of needing to kind of hold the magic wand, the wand of magic missile, it's just going to kind of pop out a little bit and is attached by the arm still to the suit, and immediately from this this wand, these little gears just come whizzing out and all over. And he's casting his using 5 charges, so at a 5th level spell. So that's 7 of these darts, these little gears actually that just kind of go flinging out of his arm towards probably the same one that Hermes was after.
Okay.
And that is going to be a total of 17 damage.
All right. So absolutely the wand, the change in the way the wand functions makes perfect sense because you've the upgraded body that belonged to Copernicus. So your wands are integrated without having to remove them and hold them. And so these gear like arcane blasts of energy go shooting, and I'll add to your description, if you don't mind, that for a moment, these 7 cogs shoot up into the air and sort of connect. And there's this sort of as all these gears form together, and then they just burst out and all go into this one target. As they strike into the target, you watch the gears cut into, but leave no blood, into this figure. And then all of you see these original refugees sort of do that stuttery thing. And then you see all of them have some manifestation of gear, almost looking as if it's made of flesh for a moment, and then translucent, and then taking on the metal form. One of them, their eyes appear as gears rotating. Another one, the gears seem to just sort of ratchet across their head. A couple of them, they seem to sort of roll through, moving through the, like under the surface of the skin. And then all of them seem to do this sort of, and then it's just as if you had popped a water balloon. All of the original refugees just go collapse to the ground in puddles. And you see from each one of them, these sort of slimy tendrils sort of go and sort of recede down into the floorboards. A couple of them receding back along the walls and into cracks. And that is where we're going to take our break. As for when we return, you are out of combat. And you'll begin your investigation into just what the heck is happening. So, thank you to everybody who's tuned in so far. I'm seeing a very lively chat, though I can't follow along with it. We appreciate you. We appreciate the people that have donated to the domain dice and the subscriptions. Keep them coming. They're starting to burn through these things. And of course, thank you to all of these awesome players who we'll see in just about 10 minutes when we return from our break. We are going to take a 10-minute break. We'll see you on the other side. back. So, just before we went to the break, Fig used a clockwork flavored high level wand of magic missiles. The cogs hit the one target, but they manifested in all of the original refugees, who suddenly disincorporated, turning into a liquid. These slimy tendrils left behind, whipping around and withdrawing into the floorboards and into the walls, and all around you is now a bit of chaos as you are all standing in various stages of battle readiness. And the other 40 refugees some of them are screaming, 7 of them are asleep on the floor or against the table from Fig's sleep spell. The other 33 of them are reeling. A couple are cowering in the corner. A couple are men and women are backed up in either terror or tears streaming down their face. A couple are trying to take control of the situation, and all of them are looking in horror around the room at all of you. What's going on? What is happening? We are out of combat. We are out of initiative order. What would you all like to do?
Everybody
Get inside.
out of the house, out, get out now. And we're going to fix this now. Go. Like she's like a woman chasing after chickens, like clapping hands, out, like go. And she's shooing. And like when one goes out the door, she's like, yes, good. Like that's
Talmud is right next to Cantriel, almost doing the exact same things. And he takes about 3 or 4 steps forward, and then cousin Tildane like fades back into him, and he comes out of his rage and he's like, go. What are we doing?
Just to let you know, this thing attacked me outside, so
I'll like look over my shoulders, like just this like almost like exasperated sneer.
Jake, we all saw the slime tendrils slithering away.
After they all disincorporated, the slime tendrils were all that was clearly visible. So you've all seen these tendrils.
Did it pull away from like a captured, human slave, or was like the manifestation like a facade?
Yes, to the second part.
Okay.
All right, so
there are no bodies left behind, if that's what you're asking.
Yeah. I just wanted to make sure that we didn't kill people.
So Drown will kind of scoop up 2 sleeping people, throw one over each shoulder, and start heading to the door. And he'll say, Cantriel is right. Get everyone out. Whatever it is still here, probably down below.
The refugees absolutely show, as soon as you start barking orders, they're still in that, they've been liberated for less than a day. They're still in that servitude mentality, save for Varian, I believe was his name, your dwarven friend. He begins helping to gather the rest of them.
Yeah, I will as well.
And you are all able to very quickly, in just a few moments, get everybody out. Once you are outside the house, Cantriel, next to you, you hear a familiar voice of Laramie, who says, I have no idea what in the 9 hells is going on. What? That's all he can get out. He's the only one of the original refugees that you see.
I look for tentacles or tendrils or anything sticking out that's whipping around and looking odd.
Do you look with your eyes or do you look with your hands?
Hell no. She's like patting him up and down, making sure he's not packing something. Are you kidding?
So he's absolutely, he doesn't resist. And he's just stuttering that, what? And you sort of quickly pat him up and down, and you don't find any tendrils. He seems to be Laramie.
You know who else has tendrils? Our warlock.
I use my last 5 points of lay on hands to heal myself,
That's a good, yeah. So I'd at this point cupping Laramie's face, wherever they're standing, and sort of like making shushing sounds, and then hearing that from Griveth, it's like death glare. Yes, well, not everyone always has something that's obviously unpleasant in their system, right?
What do you know about this warlock?
Says the man who plucked the tree seed.
Just what I've seen.
How come this problem didn't start until the warlock showed up?
Drown just sort of snorts and continues carrying people out of the house.
Griveth, you would
Hurry
notice
before it takes someone else.
Griveth, you would notice that while Drown has tentacles, they're very obviously tentacles. The tendrils are more like these very thin, almost wispy lines. So the only similarity was when they seemed to adopt Drown's tentacle
Gotcha.
after he manifested it.
Gotcha. Okay.
So, like, just trying to calm Laramie down, did that help at all? Like, probably not, because she's shouting at other people too. So, hey, calm down.
Yeah, I think as you're sort of, because you were instrumental in helping to calm Laramie down when you first liberated them as well. So yeah, I think it definitely would help him.
Okay.
Because he seems to, he sort of, what, please, where did they all go? What is happening? Where is Velitha? Where are the others?
We're going to have to figure that out right now. I need you to regroup and to help us get the rest away from this house while we try and figure out what's going on. Can you get everyone to the ship?
The only way to get to the ship is to go down through the house into the sea cave.
Okay.
She saw the tendrils go in down, right? Yes.
Yeah.
No, you're not. Never mind. No. Let's not do that.
So I would say, at least for the moment, back along the path, get a good 100 yards from the house. Let us, figure out where this is coming from, and put it down.
Well, he's saying that.
And as far as Griveth, let's stop with the suspicions. There was stuff happening here well before we got here. There were already rumors of hauntings, which is why the place was abandoned. So, at ease.
True, but I thought we kind of dismissed those hauntings as tricks, as traps to keep people away.
Right, and then we left a whole bunch of strangers here, and
well, how come the pirates stayed here? If this place is so haunted, how come the pirates would stay here?
Don't rightly know. Maybe they didn't stay here long.
I may be wrong, but I'm keeping my eye on that warlock.
Yeah, I think you're wrong to do so. Not many a person would just dive in the water to rescue a slave by themselves. There's good in his heart.
Statistically, Griveth, your hunches have not been very accurate.
Damn.
That's the mic drop.
His face scrunches a little bit, and he thinks about it for a second, and he's like, "Good point, Fig. Good point."
While they're talking, Cantriel's going around, and she's just touching anything to give it light and handing it to the slaves so they have some means of light as they walk away from the house.
I think we need to get that clip and just be able to put it on a button to hit every so often.
Talmud is running back towards the house.
Why is he running?
Well, maybe not. We'll see.
Have we gotten all of the refugees out?
You are just finishing getting all of the refugees out when suddenly Talmud grabs his head
Oh no.
and screams out, What memory are you reliving, Talmud?
I think it's not as long as the last memory that he had. And this one is Talmud standing over a stone sarcophagus, and the lid is sliding closed. And there's a bunch of other dwarves standing around, every one of them very somber and serious looking. And Talmud is broken. He's a blubbering mess. His beard is matted to his face, but he makes no sound.
Talmud, let me just check this. I don't have to ask. You feel something hit you hard in the back of the head. As you all are turning to react to Talmud screaming out in that instant at first as he grabbed his head, and he's just, all of a sudden you see him go, ugh! And Talmud, you take 17 points of bludgeoning and 5 points of psychic damage. And you all watch as Talmud suddenly standing there, his hands drop to his side, and you watch as, leading with his head, Talmud is jerked backwards through the front door of the house, pulled, dragging across the threshold of this house. What are you doing?
See what's grabbing or pulling him or anything?
As he's pulled to the ground, you see one of these tendrils that is lashed out from the house.
Shit. I'll try to grab him.
All right.
All right, throw Forge Fane at the Tenno.
Absolutely. So you're throwing Forge Fiend at the tendril.
Yes.
And Drown, you're rushing in to basically grapple Talmud.
Yeah.
Okay, so make an attack roll, Thorgarn, and Talmud. And Talmud, Drown, make a
Nice.
grapple check at advantage.
Ooh, nice.
25.
Thorgarn, Forge Fiend goes flying through the air, tumbling end over end. And just inside, you hear the crack of wood as it strikes where this tendril is crossing the threshold. And as it hits, you see the tendril seems to sort of burst into hundreds of hair-like wisps that seem to sort of move around where Forge Fiend is, disconnecting on some of them and reconnecting to avoid the hammer. Even with a direct hit, you seem unable to sever this tendril. Drown, what'd you get for your grapple check?
A 24.
All right, let me see what we got here. That's going to be a dirty 20. You grab hold of it, and for a good couple feet, you grab hold of Talmud, not it. You actually grab Talmud, you tackle him. And for a moment, you all watch as Drown is being dragged into the house with Talmud.
Whoa.
Drown, your upper body is pulled into the front of the house.
Shit.
before you stop moving, holding firmly on the Talmud. You watch as 10 feet away from you, part of the tendril you see the tendril receding through that open doorway and back towards the kitchen area where there's that trap door that leads down into the basement.
Mm-hmm.
And you see from the floorboards about 10 feet away from you, you see several very small, thin tendrils begin to rise up out of the floor, and they sort of twist and weave together, and they begin forming rapidly. And you watch as Talmud is now standing in front of you.
Damn it.
A what appears to be a perfect simulacrum of Talmud standing before you.
Is the other tendril still pulling the other me?
Yes. This was separate tendrils that formed Talmud.
So the version of Talmud that Drown is still holding on to kind of looks across and kind of makes eye contact with you, Drown. Let me go, lad. Just let me go.
So is this tendril that's got a hold of him, is it like grabbing him, wrapped around him, or is it oozing out of him like this is another one of those Jello puppets?
This is something that seems to, you can see because you're pretty much looking at his face.
Mm-hmm.
You can surmise that it slammed into the back of his head, and there's several of these tendrils, like smaller ones, grabbing onto him. It seems to be more like a grasping tendril than one that is actually, like it's actually formed him.
This seems like the real Talmud, and this thing has just grabbed it.
Yeah, you're pretty confident that this is the real Talmud.
Right.
And as Talmud says this, the simulacrum looks down at you. Just let me go, lad. Just let me go. You'll always be able to remember me. I need a wisdom saving throw, Drown.
Alrighty. I'm burning my inspiration for advantage. Ooh, that's a good thing I did. All right. That is going to be a 22.
This thing is not getting into your head.
So Drown just sort of snarls back at it. Did you say that the front door was shattered?
No.
No. Can I maybe slam the door on the tendril? Try and catch it between the door and the door jamb. Maybe I can cut it off.
You're halfway through the door right now with Talmud.
I'm gonna try and haul him back.
Okay, so yeah, I like this. I like where this is going. So make another contested athletics check.
Okay.
Can I help? Because
yeah.
At this point, the rest
Drown.
of you can definitely see what's going on.
Yeah, Griveth sees Drown trying to pull Talmud back, and is embarrassed about his suspecting that Drown has something to do with this. So I leap forward and try to grab his belt or his shoulders or something and help pull him back.
All right.
So
he gets advantage.
Yeah.
Fig and Cantriel and Thorgarn, what are the three of you doing at this moment?
I will go up and assist as well if we can.
So I've got a 19, Jake.
All right. And with Thorgarn leading in there, I'm going to say that adds you. Thorgarn, what's your strength bonus?
3.
So that turns that into a 22.
Cool.
Fig, what are you doing in this moment as these three men are pulling on Talmud?
Fig, as he's running up, he wants to extend the arm blade that he has on his new, like you just shing, and as soon as he sees, if they pull it back enough, as soon as he sees that tendril, he wants to try and cut it.
You take a quick slash at the tendril, and similar to what Thorgarn saw, it sort of seems to, you partially cut into it, it breaks apart into these fibers that just reform as your blade passes. You seem not to be able to use weapons to sever this. Successfully pulling them out, Drown, you reach out. Now that you have two other men that are pulling and helping, you reach out and you slam the door shut. As you slam the door shut, there's a moment where Talmud's entire body seems to go rigid. And I need a death saving throw from you, Talmud.
Could I do something? It's a bonus action.
Okay.
I don't know if you'll allow this, but I'm gonna try to logic this. Okay, so as we're pulling Talmud out, Griveth wants to kind of shield Talmud from the effect that's happening to him. So what I'm thinking is, if I can cast Sanctuary on him, will that like break the tie, or have a chance at least to break whatever?
Let me take a look at Sanctuary real quick. You ward a creature within range against attack. There's ward a creature with attack or harm spell. So the death saving throw is happening regardless, because Talmud was knocked unconscious by the attack.
Gotcha.
So his speaking to Drown was just flavor, really. So I'm not going to make you burn that spell.
Okay.
But at this point, it wouldn't really have an effect.
Gotcha.
But you're all desperately trying to pull Talmud through. Drown is just slamming the door shut. Fig sort of standing over, having just attempted to slash at it. Cantriel, what are you doing during all of this?
Seeing this all going on, shouting, "You literally have to make your own friends," and casting Bane to try and take the edge off.
Okay.
That's a charisma.
Let's see. This will be interesting. Let's see what happens here. Okay. You feel the Bane spell as just as the door's about to be closed, you sort of get your magic through the crack and hitting these tendrils, and you see it sort of slam into the Talmud simulacrum, and there's that sort of stutter, and then you don't see him as the door slams shut. When it does so, the tendril completely cut off. Sort of, you see the end that's grasping at the back of Talmud's head. These dozens of these little tendrils start, and it lets go of the back of Talmud's head, and it sort of writhes on the ground for a moment, and then it just sort of slows down and begins to dissolve into just a small puddle of slime. Talmud is unconscious. Drown, Thorgarn, and Griveth have hold of him. Fig, you're standing right there. Cantriel, you saw your effect of your spell just before the door closed. What do you all want to do? Laramie is already, as you sort of rushed forward to cast a spell, Cantriel, Laramie has begun working, snapped out of it, calmed down by you, with Varian to get the rest of the refugees moving down the road. And at this point, they've moved through the gate, and they are standing outside of the gate. At least, we'll say they're about 300 yards down the road. And they still seem to be moving a little bit. What would you like to do?
Do we want to try and save the house or get rid of it?
Do you care about it? Do you have anywhere else to put these people?
A ship? Maybe?
Burn it down.
All I know is that...
So, is Talmud still dying?
Yes.
All right. Yeah, somebody got this.
Yeah, I'll do a cure wounds. Yeah, she drops down to her knees. Cure wounds. Let's do 3rd level on, because she doesn't actually like him. She's not doing it because she likes him. So that's going to be for Talmud. Light helps. Hold on. Mathing in my head. 17.
Cantriel, as you lean down to bring Talmud back from the brink of death, and you see this sort of bruising and welts where these tendrils had grabbed hold of his head. As you sort of touch and heal him and heal these areas, you sense somebody watching you. And you look up, and in one of the windows to the side of the door, you see that Talmud simulacrum. And then you see another figure move up beside him, as you see Thorgarn simulacrum. And then those two figures shift before your eyes, and you see a Velitha simulacrum, and you see one of the others, and you realize all of the windows of this house, you can see the former refugees peering out of the windows.
Set the building on fire. Just set the building on fire.
Thorgarn and Talmud. Talmud, as you sort of come to, I want you to make me an insight check at advantage. And Thorgarn, you're also going to make an insight check at advantage.
All right. Let's see here. I haven't been an insight check on this character in a while. Oh, he's actually not bad at it. That's going to be a 21, sir.
And
I
Talmud?
got a 14.
And Griveth, for reasons that I'll reveal depending on what you roll, I want you to make an insight check as well.
Okay, I'm near you, Talmud, so you would get +3 to your roll.
For a skill check?
17.
It's not a saving throw, it's a skill check.
No, yeah.
Oh, a skill. What am I rolling?
Insight.
You're rolling insight.
Okay. Insight. I got a 19.
Griveth, you would remember that you had earlier in the day.
You would remember.
You would remember. You guys are gonna be traumatized anytime I mention memory now.
I remember.
You remember in our last session.
Just say remember doors, and we're going to be running away screaming.
That you remember in the last session that so earlier in the day that you had used your divine sense, and you had sensed an evil presence sort of permeating the house. Thorgarn, Talmud, you have this sort of hazy feeling of, for a few moments, you weren't alone. You could sense the consciousness of dozens of others alongside you. Thorgarn, you have this similar memory, but you clearly can recall the consciousness of, though you did not know the names of all 12 of the original refugees, you recall the consciousness alongside you of Velitha, Keegan, Allison, Erithal, Barlin, Hope, Carter, Vagrin, Montree, Thela, and Esper. All 12 consciousness. And you see darkness, dim light, reflecting off of dozens and dozens of dusty bottles of wine, some broken shards of glass. Nearby. And that's all you get.
Right.
So I look at the house, look back at the refugees that we escorted out of the house. Are those names that I just remembered? Are they there? Are they?
No, you don't see any of the original refugees. You sense their presence, their consciousness somewhere coming from the house. You were alongside them while you were unconscious.
But the 40 that we brought in today are out there.
Oh yeah, the 40 you brought in today are all safe.
So and if Thorgarn clearly remembers their names, then he is just gonna like stare at the house, and then in a like dry monotone voice, he's just gonna say they're dead, and just methodically say the names. Each one kind of like a hammer strike on the anvil. Distraught that yet a frickin' again his actions have caused innocence to be removed from this world.
So Drown will kind of help haul Talmud up to his feet once Cantriel has healed him, and just sort of set him there and then clap his shoulder and say, "We need to get everyone away from this house. It's got to be somewhere down low. It was reaching up through the floor."
Well, we have to get in there. If there is any chance that they're still alive, if there's any chance of saving them, we have to deal with this evil.
So, Jake, this thing was dealing like 8d10 psychic damage when it sucked people's memories out.
Correct.
Yeah.
Dear God.
And
Drown
as a reminder,
just-
because I totally forgot to point this out, that Ted, you actually because you got knocked out twice from this thing, that you should be rolling a d6 along with every dice roll and subtracting that number.
Yeah.
And Talmud, you are now rolling a d4. Well, you're actually unconscious right now.
Well,
But
just got healed back
he
up.
got healed.
well, that's right. You got
17.
healed back up. Because
Yeah.
I was gonna say that d4 would also apply to a death saving throw.
Yeah.
Oh,
Sure
Jesus
would.
Well,
Christ.
I'm glad that you
Sure
remember
would.
this after the
Yeah.
fact. So a D6
Yeah, as you rolled a 13 on your death saves there.
Right.
But that's fine. We're not
So-
gonna retcon any of that.
So Drown will listen to that about hope that maybe these people are still alive, and he'll just sort of blank-faced let Thorgarn finish that thought, and then just kind of turn away from him to the rest of everybody else and say, "We need to get a safe distance from the house. We need to take some time to tend our wounds, and then we need to kill that thing.
Right.
It seemed to fear fire," and he'll look over at Fig. "I seem to remember you combusting."
Well, not literally.
I do have many spells that deal with fire. Perhaps it is in that basement area.
Aren't we maybe afraid that it's going to try to run? Try to leave now that it knows that we're here?
Drown just shrugs. "If it leaves, so much the better."
It could come to town, though.
I
Maybe.
think for whatever reason it is bound to this place.
So he will look directly at Talmud and say, "Do you think you can stand up to another one of those assaults on your mind? You're no good to anyone dead.
No.
Catch your breath." And Drown will kind of stalk off toward the people. My intent is we need to take at least a short rest.
Mm.
I'm right there with you. So I'm gonna follow Drown, and hoping that the rest of the Dawnbringers follow.
Mm-hmm.
So Is there anything pressing on your time there, Drown? I mean, after we go deal with this thing in the house.
He just shakes his head. He says, "I'm owed something from the lady. Other than that," he shakes his head again.
I'm up for anything, but my powers wane. I need to recover. That thing is very strong.
Right. So we need some rest. And Drown, you're one of us now. Welcome. And Cantriel's just going to walk, going to check on the slaves.
Refugees.
Thank you.
Former slaves.
I was
Former slaves.
What are we going to do with the refugees now?
I hear they make a really good band.
The former refugees.
I was gonna, try to be all coy and talk to everybody, but yeah, Drown, if you'd like to join us, you're welcome here.
He mulls that over for a moment and he says, "I'll consider it."
It might take some time because I didn't do the magical part of the crafting, and I kind of hold up the bracer that you see on just about everybody's arm, if not everybody's. Yeah, it took some time to make these.
I'll consider it. For now, let's tend to our wounds and deal with this thing.
So are you wanting to take a short rest or a long rest?
I suppose we're probably at the point where we could take a long rest.
It's moved into night.
Yeah, a short rest really won't help me.
You feel confident that based on your experiences so far and the way things are going at the moment as everybody's moved away and outside of technically off the property of the house, it has not made any effort to come after anyone.
Right.
That you could make camp out here. If that's what you chose to do. What was that, Ted?
We would certainly need to set a watch.
Yeah.
Fig can. He can
Are
watch.
you comfortable risking it recovering all of its capacity as well?
I
I
don't
have
think we
no
have
idea
choice.
how much it might have expended. If you require to rest overnight, then there's nothing for it.
Yeah, I mean, good night's rest would do us all good. I mean, you have to remember we started off the day fighting the massive turtle and the ship. Try to not look at Fig when I mentioned that.
It has been eventful.
So perhaps us resting will put us in a stronger position.
Very well.
What Talmud is going to start doing is he's going to start building fires around the perimeter of the house.
Ooh.
I want to surround this house with fire.
It's a good idea, cousin.
Thank you.
Yeah, Fig would help with that as well. Just kind of making sure to stay off the property, away. But I think Fig would try to see if there's any information he can glean, any hint of anything that would tell us the origin, where this creature is, the root of it.
Go ahead. Thank you to Spike, who just donated 1,000 bits, getting you 2 more domain dice. Fig, go ahead and make a... Go ahead and make a history check while I adjust your hit dice up to... You're at 94, so 96.
That is a 22.
you sort of recede into yourself, digging into your collected repositories of knowledge, searching through your memory for anything that you might be able to recall having to do with anything like this. The only thing that you can find through your memory stores and that include Copernicus's own research that you absorbed through reading, nothing seems to fit this description. The only closest thing that you can pull into is the words eldritch horror.
Lovely.
So Talmud has set about setting fires around the house. Others are helping. You're able to scavenge from the nearby woods enough dead wood to keep fires burning. I imagine you're setting several small bonfires at different locations. No matter where you go around the house, as you're setting these fires, you see the former refugees staring out at you through windows, firelight reflecting in their eyes. As you move around to one side of the house, sorry, Cantriel, were you going to say something?
No, I was going to say, so literally can see them?
Yes, they're literally standing in the windows looking at all of you.
It's very tempting for her to do something. Kind of want to throw shatter at one of them. Just, get one last ding in.
All right. You can definitely do that.
Okay. So especially if it's, why can't I remember her name?
Velitha?
Velitha. If she sees the Velitha one, she will, it starts like sort of like this guttural sound in her throat, and it just gets a higher and higher pitch to it until it starts this ringing that almost seems to fill the air, but suddenly it's targeted, and you could almost, if it weren't for sound, you could see it with its directness, and it goes to where we are seeing her out the window, and the window itself will shatter, and it's going to hopefully do some damage to her.
What level are you casting it?
We're gonna rest, right?
That's your plan. You're gonna crank it, aren't you?
Oh, let's just say I've been hanging on to a certain level slot just in case I need it. So yes, we're going to do that at 4th level, which is 5d8. It has to do a Constitution saving throw, though.
All right, let's see. Con save.
It will make you reroll,
What's your spell save DC?
15.
You got a 12.
Okay, I only have 4, so I have to reroll again. Oh, that's a lot of numbers there. Okay, so 16. Oh wait, is that in addition to? Let me check something here.
No, it just takes the thunder damage.
Yeah, no, I'm just checking the original level of shatter. No, that's right.
It's
that's
second
right,
level.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, so then that is 16 plus 6 mathing 22.
You all hear this as Cantriel's voice is rising from this guttural growl up into this higher pitched sound. You watch as the window containing the simulacrum of Velitha shatters. Part of the wood frame around the window shatters. Wood splintering, all of this glass and wood ripping the simulacrum to shreds as it is pushed backwards away from the window. The wispy curtains hanging in there sort of And as they sort of fall in, they pull apart again. And you see this shredded form of Velitha sort of and reform. And it doesn't make any facial expression. The only thing it does, Cantriel, is it looks at you as it cocks its head. And that is where we're going to end tonight's session. And you guys are going to take a long rest. So when we return next week, it will finally be a new day.
Maybe title it that.
A new dawn. That's what the next.
And we're going to bring the dawn.
Jake, do you want us to wait to activate the long rest until we?
I'm going to say, Talmud, take a point of inspiration for thinking up the fires all the way around.
Great idea.
Mm-hmm.
It was a fantastic idea. Using the knowledge that Drown gave you. And I'm going to say, because of that, you seem to be holding this thing at bay, and as long as you are keeping a watch, you will gain a full night's rest. So you can go ahead, take your long rest, so you're all ready for that for next session. But you also know, as Drown pointed out, whatever this creature is, also is having a long rest.
Yep.
Right.
I have to say that I'm kind of loving watching you guys reel and try to figure this thing out, and not just tromping and trouncing all over it like you did the dragon turtle. Turns out I just need to hit you with psychological attacks, apparently. But yeah. Next session will be called A New Dawn. Will be session 23. And that will be next Thursday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern here on twitch.tv/Mini Terrain Domain. Thank you to everybody who tuned in tonight. Again, I haven't been able to watch the chat as close as I would like, but I love seeing all the activity that's going on in there, and I know some of the other Dawnbringers are in the chat as well, interacting with you guys, with you folks. So that's fantastic. I would like to remind everybody that tomorrow night, now I realize it's Valentine's Day, so some people may have plans with significant others, but not everybody does that. And if you're looking for something alternative to do, at 7:30 p.m. Eastern tomorrow evening on youtube.com/Mini Terrain Domain, I will be running the second of the new Friday night live crafting stream that I finally titled. We were going to call it chat last week. Decided we were going to call it Craftastic. And then I found out that Craftastic is a YouTube channel with over 200,000 subscribers. So I will not be using that as the title of this stream. It is instead just called Just Crafting. Kind of a play on the just chatting genre of streaming. And I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to do. If I get a certain package that I think's coming, I might be unboxing that because it's going to be full of craft supplies. And I may have gotten a special package from somebody else this week that I can showcase some new goodies that we're going to be doing some painting stuff with in upcoming. We might do some experiments, but we'll hang out. We'll do some crafting for a couple hours. And it's going to be a blast. Thank you to Mike and the Unmade Gaming crew for that last minute raid. Even though we are ending the stream, it's still enough to gain you that domain die. And because we didn't do it yet this stream, and before we head out of here, while we're plugging stuff, V, what do you got cooking up with the Unmade Gaming crew?
Oh, I'm cooking up something now, am I? No, sorry, stuck in Cantriel. Well, it just actually released our first full episode. You can find it wherever podcasts are listened to. I wanted to say sold, but that's not right. So it's called Dark Fortunes. It's a humble wood setting. However, it's pirate's love. And I'm playing Sienna McTeer, and she is a lovely Vulpin fighter. And our buddy Mike is also playing another lovely Birdfolk race, as well as we have McLogan, one of Dan's players from World Tree Burns, and we have author Rory as another player, and our DM is Johnny, and it is a lot of fun. You do need to check it out. It's one of these podcasts that I think you're going to be very much intrigued and pulled into because of how it's being set up. It's a little bit, happy-go-lucky Looney Tunes with a dark edge to it.
Well, and you can check it out on iTunes. You can check it out on, it's probably making its way through like Stitcher,
Spotify,
and a lot
Google,
of those others.
Anchor.
It's definitely on Spotify. I have it brought up right here on my iTunes, and I have it queued up to listen to back and forth on my way to work, because episode 0, Welcome to Dark Fortunes, and episode 1, The Sound of Silence,
yes,
is up. And I'm very much excited to hear this specially audio produced actual play podcast featuring some of my friends.
It's good. I'm not biased at all. It's fantastic. It's wonderful. You're going to love it.
Yep. And Unmade Gaming, Mike and his channel, are, I like to think of them as members of the extended Mini Terrain Domain family. Mike does amazing things over on Unmade Gaming, for charity and with his games. So be sure to check them out. Give them a follow over there. Follow them on social media. Check out the Dark Fortunes podcast. And then you can tune in, besides our Saturday live crafting, you can tune in on Sunday night for the continuation of our 2-year campaign in Chult with Tomb of Annihilation. Episode, I think we're on episode 61 or 62. Megan is one of my players in that, and they are one of the original 2 characters, not just original players, but original characters in that. And then Megan and I are also on Monday nights with DM Mike the Piper in All That Glitters, a Waterdeep Dragon Heist, happening right here. And then this next Tuesday will be our Curse of Strahd campaign over on Dice on Ice, where Megan is the dungeon master over there. Yeah, that's, and then of course next Thursday, there's something called the Dawnbringers that goes on. So besides that, yeah, there's just tons of great D&D content happening right here on the channel on just about every night. So, be sure to hit that follow button. Subscribe if you'd like to. Check out the YouTube channel. I'd love to see you over there tomorrow night, or just check out the video content we got over there, including all the VODs. So one final thank you to everybody in the chat who gave subscriptions, who gave raids, who gave domain dice through cheering and all that stuff. We love you. Thank you so much for that. And a tremendous thank you to these now 6 amazing players that I get to play D&D with every week. I love you guys. You are like a sanctuary. Thursdays has become sanctuary for me from whatever the week throws. So thank you, Scotty. Thank you, V, Megan, Ted, Dan, and Jeremy. You guys are the best. And have fun wherever else you are, what other games you are watching, wherever you're playing. We will see you next time. So we're going to go ahead and end this stream the same way we end every stream, and you can say it with me if you want. Make it good.